is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Wisconsin.
There is Chris Carter. He is one home run shy of the National League lead. Nolan Arenado of the Rockies has 40. Can Carter get there tonight against Jonathan Lucroy's Texas Rangers? Lucroy was clutch again last night. Now we're all set for the finale. It's the rubber game, the Brewers and the Rangers, and it's coming up next. It's a beautiful night for baseball in Arlington, Texas. We welcome you from Globe Life Park in Arlington, home of the Rangers, the division champs in the American League West. The Brew Crew and the Rangers tonight for Game 3 of this series. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Texas. Great to have you with us tonight. Brian Anderson alongside Bill Schroeder. Sophia Minard, our reporter this evening. Well, we got a great pitching matchup. We like this one because we have a contrast in styles, right-hander, left-hander. Chase Anderson making his final start for the Brewers. And maybe the Rangers' best guy, Cole Hamels. He will get Game 1 in the postseason. This will be his final regular season start.
Yeah, a little tune-up for the postseason. They picked him up in the trading deadline deal last year, and all he's done is gone 22-6. One of the best pitchers in all of baseball, left-hander Cole Hamels. You can see where he ranks. I mean, this guy has been solid all season long. He's got a 15-5 record, 9th in the league in earned run average, and you figure he's going to be a key component in that postseason push for the Texas Rangers. The Brewers have been pretty good against lefties, 30-18 against left-handed starters this year. That's going to be put to the test here today. And the guy on the other side, Chase Anderson, margins are going to be thin for him. You don't figure you're going to get a whole lot of runs against Cole Hamels, but Chase has been very good. His last 11 starts, a 5-1 record. Locating all of his pitches. The curveball has been an exceptional pitch. His last start of the year, you know he wants to finish on a high note.
And Chase Anderson pitching near his hometown. He's from Wichita Falls, Texas. He lives currently in the Dallas area. He's pitching against the Rangers tonight. Ready to play ball in Arlington. It's the Brewers and the Rangers. We've got lineups and first pitch coming your way. Stay with us, folks. Wednesday Night Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Tonight we have 1 day left in the Lone Star State. And then the Brewers are headed to Colorado. A trip to Denver tonight, starting a series with the Rockies tomorrow. The final 3 games of the season starting tomorrow. Still business at hand here in Arlington. And our broadcast tonight presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. What a great night for baseball it is. It's the warmest night since we've been here. It's 85 degrees tonight. And the Rangers will take tomorrow off. They will welcome in the Rays in their final series. Brewers are trying to disrupt their flow a little bit. The Rangers have the best record in the American League. And Craig Counsell is trying to get out of here with a series win, which would be significant. Texas has the best home record in the AL at 51-26. So this is the lineup Counsell has put together tonight. Jonathan Villar leads off. Domingo Santana batting second. Ryan Braun's back in there after missing yesterday with a wrist injury. In the middle, it's Chris Carter with 39 homers. Hernan Perez is in center. Manny Pena will be the DH tonight. And the bottom 3, Arcia Maldonado and Yadiel Rivera, DH in effect in the American League ballpark. And Rock, there is Cole Hamels, start number 32 and a 15-game winner this season.
Yeah, one of the best in the business. When he's on, he's been very good, but he's had a rough stretch. End of August and the beginning part of September, 6.53 ERA in September. You can see he walks a lot of guys. 77 walks, leads the American League, but he's 7th in strikeouts. So the walks, strikeouts, a big part of his game. That 330 earned run average, good for 9th in the National League. And let's set the defense behind Cole Hamels tonight. Your Menards defense: Gomez, Desmond, Mazara in the outfield, Beltre, Andrus on the left side, Odor, Moreland on the right side, and former Brewer, big hitting star in last night's game, Jonathan Lucroy behind home plate.
There's Adrian Beltre, a future Hall of Famer, back in the lineup at third base tonight. Villar swinging away at the first pitch and a high drive into left center. That's got a chance, and it is up and gone. And Jonathan Villar, welcome to the game. One pitch. Villar goes deep, home run number 19. And the Brewers strike first in the first inning once again.
Well, Villar, just when you think that he's out of gas, he is swinging about well in this series. They had 2 home runs in the first game of the series, and the first pitch out of Cole Hamels' hand, a home run into center field, actually in the left center. And the Brewers on the board quickly.
Well, what a start. Now Santana swings away at the first pitch, fouls it off. There is more to talk about with Jonathan Villar, who is now a homer shy of 20 on the season. He stole his 60th base of the year last night. He would become only the 4th player in the history of baseball in the modern era to hit at least 20 homers and steal at least 60 bases in a season, joining some great players, Hall of Famers like Ricky Henderson and Joe Morgan, and a great player with the Cincinnati Reds and Eric Davis. That's the list that Villar can join with 1 more home run.
Amazing stuff. I mean, he's been a nice surprise all season long, but who would have thought in a very short list like that? Combination of power and speed.
Well, what a start for the Brewers tonight. Got a 2-run homer last night from Carter. And the Brewers led in that game last night 3-0 at one point. Just couldn't hang on to win it. Lucroy and Gomez were the 2 that delivered the big hits. Lucroy's put the Rangers ahead for good. And Gomez hit a 3-run homer to tie it. Santana gets jammed, a little flare. That's going to fall into right field, a base hit. So the Brewers are 2 for 2 to start the day against Cole Hamels.
Hey, Hamels relies on that cut fastball. He throws a lot of them, and he's got a terrific changeup. One of the best changeups in baseball. Yeah, Santana muscles one out in the right field on a pretty good pitch. Up and in, fights it off.
Santana has been raking at the plate during this final month of the season. What a great stretch for him, spending all of that time on the disabled list. Very important for him to not just get back in the lineup, but reestablish himself as an everyday player, and he's been able to do that. He'll have a good offseason knowing that he was hot to finish the season. Here's Ryan Braun back in the starting lineup tonight. And Ryan swings at the first pitch, fouls it away.
That's what you have to do against quality starters like Cole Hamels. Most times the best pitch to hit's going to be that first strike. Brewers have been aggressive.
Well, Cole Hamels has been a huge pickup for Texas. Helped him into the postseason last year. And he's had a terrific season this season. He was one of the favorites for the Cy Young Award prior to a little stretch of bad games in late August and early September. Brewers saw him plenty as a member of the Phillies. His overall numbers with the Phillies in 295 appearances and of course a World Series title. He was on that 08 World Series team. MVP, as a matter of fact, of that World Series. But Ryan Braun has good success against Cole Hamels. How about those numbers, Rock? A 353 average, 3 homers.
Well, the Brewers as a team have been very good against lefties this year. Ryan Braun has always been good against left-handers, including Cole Hamels, some of the best in the business.
Hamels has him down, a ball and 2 strikes. And Braun fouls it away. Count remains at 1-2. Talked to Ryan at the cage today, Rock. He said the wrist, it was no big deal. It was a little tweaked, but he's fine, able to play. And at this point of the season, he reminded us everything hurts.
Yeah, he said that had it not been, there's only 4 games left, he might be resting it a little bit longer.
Right.
Maybe take today off. Then you have the team day off, but he wants to stay in there. Only 4 games left.
Now pitch in the dirt. Santana with good base running. He'll advance on a wild pitch. Not a bad block by Lucroy, but Santana was on the move and he ends up at second base.
Yeah, Hamels in that changeup is a tough pitch to block sometimes, and you can see Lucroy ordinarily keeps that one close, but kicks off the chest protector. And Santana in scoring position. That's a big deal. These Texas Rangers, they turn a ton of double plays. They lead all of baseball.
So there is a speedy runner in scoring position for Braun. 2-2 the count now. If you're just tuning us in, Jonathan Villar homered on the first pitch of the ball game. And now Braun sends one to center field, and it is going to be caught by Desmond. A diving catch. Heck of a play by Desmond. Takes a hit away from Ryan Braun.
Well, the converted shortstop looking good in center field. He got a good jump on that baseball. Plays relatively deep, like most guys do with Ryan Braun at the plate. That a bullet into center field. Can't hit it much better than that. Nice play by Desmond.
Yeah, clearly a catch. We've seen a number of diving plays in this series already. Beltran had a terrific diving catch in right field last night. Here's Chris Carter now. He takes a ball high. Carter sitting on 39 homers. Hit number 39 last night in the first inning. Carter is the home run and RBI leader for the Brewers. 39 and 92. Braun has 30 and 90. And they've had a nice 1-2 punch in the middle of that Brewers batting order.
It's going to be fun to keep an eye on that home run race as the Brewers head into Colorado here in Arenado. Could come down to the final day.
And Carter pops this one up a mile high. Foul territory, playable, and Moreland will put it away for the out. 2 gone now for Hamels. Hamels, after a shaky start, has retired Braun and Carter, and he'll face Hernan Perez now.
I think Hamels and Jim Joyce having a discussion. He thought that the first pitch to Carter was a strike. Right at the top of the strike zone. Just wants to get the parameters of the strike zone. Doing it in a nice way.
Always enjoyed Jim Joyce behind home plate, by the way. It's a Jim Joyce night. Hamels almost balks there.
He gives you an early and loud strike call.
Very throaty. It's a throaty call.
Broadcaster friendly.
Yes, it is. Perez a swing and a miss to start the at bat. Hernan hitting .267. He's cooled off from what felt like a couple of months of a hot streak. Just 1 for 8 in this series. And again, Hamels trying to keep Santana close. Second base is the last base you can fake a throw to anymore without stepping off. Never could do it to first, and then a few years back they eliminated the third base fake as well.
Well, and you wonder why they allow you to still do it at second base then.
I'm with you. Suggestion box is open. Sure, Commissioner Manfred is welcoming all of his broadcaster suggestions on all the ways to change the game. Perez up the middle and a base hit, and here comes Santana. He'll score, and the Brewers put 2 on the board in the first inning. RBI single with 2 outs for Hernan Perez.
Did a nice job staying back in that curveball. Remember, that curveball was the first pitch that Hernan saw in that at bat. And check it out. Here's another one. I think Hamels left that one up down the middle of the plate, and Perez doing a nice job hitting it hard right back through the middle. Stayed on it. He learned something with that first curveball that Hamels threw, and a big 2-out RBI.
Got to feel good for Hernan. 55 RBIs now for him as Manny Pena takes a ball. Wow, what a thrill for Pena to walk into the clubhouse today to see that he's not catching. Probably disappointed with that. Didn't see that his name is still in the lineup as the designated hitter. Nice vote of confidence from his manager.
Well, he's been swinging the bat well. He deserves it. Hit a home run last night.
Craig Counsell likes to say that his lineup has everything to do with what's out in front with the pitcher. As Pena sends one to center field, Desmond is there to make the play. Well, Jonathan Villar on the first pitch of the ball game launches one deep left center field. The Brewer leadoff man sitting on 19 home runs, and then with 2 outs, Hernan Perez delivers with an RBI single. 2-0 Brew Crew. We're off and running in Texas. Up above as the sun sets here in North Texas. Brewers lead 2-0. RBIs from Villar, a homer, and Perez, a single. Rangers batting order tonight, turned in by Jeff Bannister, the reigning manager of the year. Gomez, Desmond, and Beltran. Beltre, Odor, and Lucroy go in the middle with Moreland, Mazzara, and Elvis Andrews rounding it out. Hasn't been too much variance in the lineup outside of a couple of position moves and a rotation in the DH role, but the same principal characters. Chase Anderson's been doing his homework, and he gets a start in his home state here tonight.
Yeah, his second start against the Rangers. He threw against them last year, but as a member of the Diamondbacks, that was in Arizona. And he is pitching well. A 9-11 record. His earned run average down to 436. And looking to finish strong here tonight.
Carlos Gomez. He's been terrific in the leadoff spot for Texas. There's a Jim Joyce strike call. I just stepped all over him there. That's my apologies. I'm not going to do that again.
It's all right. You'll have another chance to hear him.
It's worth hearing. There he is.
There you go.
It puts a smile on my face. You can't teach people to care, Rock.
You know what? He does enjoy what he does. He's a good umpire. He's always been a good umpire.
Yeah, one of the favorites for the players when they take those anonymous polls.
I knew Jim Joyce when he and I were in the minor leagues together in PCL.
Called him Jimmy.
Mr. Umpire, sir.
Back when they used to call umpires blue.
Right.
Whatever happened to that? They stopped wearing blue, first of all.
Yeah. Always good to wear black on a nice hot day in Texas.
(3-2) to Gomez. And that's in on his hands a little bit. A high pop-up. VR never saw it. And everybody's chasing. That's going to fall. Nobody's at second. And Gomez, to his credit, was running hard, and he ends up at second base on what will have to be scored as a double.
Well, VR looking up in the sky really never indicated to anybody that couldn't see the baseball. The first thing you got to do is kind of wave your arms around saying, I don't see it. It's twilight here right now. The lights have not taken full effect. Sometimes that ball goes up in twilight. You can't see it. Now watch VR. I mean, really no indication that he can't see the baseball. Just a little bit. He looks around. Got to be a little bit more animated than that. Let somebody know you can't see it. And that's why it drops. Now Carlos running. He realizes that VR can't see it and ends up in second base. Tough break.
One thing you love about Gomez, though, he goes hard. A lot of players would settle for a single there if it happened to fall. Here's Desmond now. Big swing and a miss at Chase Anderson. Rangers all-star center fielder moving from the shortstop position to center field. And he has played it at a very high rate. Was off to a slow start with the bat. He was playing mostly left field and a bit of a struggle to start the season at the plate. But once he moved to center, his bat took off, and then he got so hot that he ended up in the All-Star game, and he's maintained a very high level of play this year. He's hitting .285 still. 22 homers, 85 runs batted in. That is great production from a center fielder.
And he's done a pretty good job in center. An infielder by trade.
Desmond did play outfield as an amateur player. Shortstop, outfield. Has a cannon for a throwing arm. One of the best throwing arms among all major league shortstops for a number of years with the Washington Nationals. So it was an easy move to the outfield as far as throwing arms go. But the fact that he's handled center field so well, which is the most difficult of the three outfield positions, they say. And he stepped right in and done a nice job. Gomez at second. And the 1-2, never mind. Anderson will check in on Gomez, who likes to steal third base.
Yeah, with VR playing essentially right behind the bag on his shift, it's going to be easy to keep Gomez close. You know,
I was thinking about Ian Desmond, and in most markets, a guy moving from shortstop to center field is huge news. It's a big story, but in the Milwaukee market, because of what Robin Yount did, it feels sort of normal, even though it rarely happens.
Right.
But the way Robin Yount was able to not only win an MVP as a shortstop, but then ultimately as a center fielder, just speaks to his greatness, because you just don't see it very often. Snap throw, and Gomez is just back.
Just incredibly versatile, Robin Yount. You put him anywhere, I think he'd do a great job. And a superstar Hall of Famer that thought about nothing but the team and winning.
Well, Robin's name came up quite often when Desmond was considering a move to the outfield before he signed with the Rangers. The Rangers were really the only team, or at least the first team, that offered him an everyday job in left to start the season, so he knew he was going to get his at-bats. And the Rangers were a little bit unsettled in center field as well. And he liked the manager. He liked what he heard from Bannister. He was coming off a Manager of the Year award, so it was all a good fit for Desmond. And he is ready to cash in free agency.
When you talk about moving to center field, Robin Yount will tell you that center field a lot easier than playing left.
Really?
Robin hated left field because of the corners. Ball bouncing around those corners. The ball would slice. It would hook. But you're right. I mean, most guys will tell you that as far as covering ground, center field's the toughest position to play in the outfield.
Desmond, a shot gloved by Carter. Nice play over there by the big man. And he'll go to the bag for the first out. Gomez does advance.
Check out your Menards Brewers defense for tonight. You got Braun, Perez, and Santana in the outfield. Rivera gets another start, his 4th consecutive start for Milwaukee. He's at third. Arcia at short, VR at second, Carter at first, and Martin Maldonado doing the catching tonight. It was Manny Pena last night.
Got a couple of power hitting second basemen in this series in VR and Odor. And VR with a home run in the first inning, putting the Brewers on the board first tonight against Cole Hamels. Rangers threaten. Here's Beltran, and a first pitch curveball for a strike. That's the pitch you're talking about, Rock, in the open that has been a bit of a difference maker down the stretch here for Chase.
Yeah, lately he's been throwing more curveballs and changeups, and that's something new to him. The changeup's always been a good pitch for him. But now that he's got good command, he's got a good feel for that curveball. He's now got 3 pitches that he's pretty comfortable in throwing at any time, really, which is why he's had such a good run.
Oh, 0-2 to Beltran, the designated hitter tonight for Texas, and it's up and in for a ball. He's had a great year. Started with the Yankees, traded to the Rangers, combined 28 homers, 92 runs batted in. He and Beltre, the anchors, the veteran anchors of this very powerful Texas lineup.
Think about the additions that the Rangers have made. Beltran, Jonathan Lucroy, I mean, putting them right over the top.
Yeah, Cole Hamels last year, that was a move not just for last season, but for years to come. Hamels still in the middle of a long-term deal that he originally signed with the Phillies. And so the Rangers went out and made that deal. And Hamels was big for him last season. They've added some serious pedigree to this roster. Willing to take on some payroll, but have added a lot of postseason experience as well. Gomez at third, and a swing and a foul tip right into the middle. Maldonado, a strikeout. 2 gone in the inning.
Yeah, got a fastball right by him up in the strike zone. 94 for Chase Anderson. And that's getting it up there pretty good for Chase. Not a guy normally that's going to be touching 94, 95. Up and in, and gets Beltran on strikes.
A little hometown adrenaline pumping for Chase Anderson, perhaps.
Which is not always good for a control pitcher.
That's true.
A finesse guy.
2 gone in the inning. Here is Beltre now. Gomez still standing at third base. Texas is one of the better teams with runners in scoring position. And in this series, they are 6 for 20. Gomez started this with a double. It was a pop-up. Lost in the twilight, and Gomez hustling ended up at second base. As Beltre fouls it back, 1-1 the count. Only Boston has a better batting average with runners in scoring position than Texas. Boston leads the league in runs as well. And both of these teams are headed to the postseason. Boston's trying to clinch their division tonight. They're the last division leader remaining. Everybody else has clinched across both leagues, including the Rangers last weekend in Oakland. Rangers were the first AL team to clinch. Indians have done so in this past week. And now Boston with an elimination number of 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gomez at third. Anderson missed with a changeup.
Yeah, and Chase is having a difficult time getting a changeup down. That's about the 3rd changeup that he's throwing up around the belt. Not where you want it.
Beltre in the air, foul. That's going to end up in the seats. And it'll even the count at 2-2. Beltre showing no signs of slowing down. He plays a lot, puts up the big numbers, has a contract that will run through next year and the following year. Well, when it's all said and done, he's going to be one of the greatest third basemen of all time in Major League Baseball. Beltre on the ground. That's fair. And a run is in. Takes a big bounce off the angled wall down there. And Beltre's in with an RBI double. The Rangers are on the board in the first inning.
Tried to get in on his hands and just couldn't do it. Adrian Beltre with his first hit in this series. Pitched down and in. Left it out over the plate just enough for Beltre to be able to tuck it inside that third baseline. And Marvin Hudson saying went over the bag after the bounce in front of the bag. And a fair ball double with 2 outs. So both teams coming up with 2-out hits to score runs.
Now, the one thing that strikes you about this ballpark, and it'll be interesting in the playoffs to watch the Rangers, this is a natural grass surface, but it plays like an AstroTurf surface. That area in front of home plate is hard pan, and there are a lot of batted balls that hit that spot and just launch into the outfield. The Brewers have benefited from that on a few occasions as well.
Yeah, certainly in the first game of this series, we saw a lot of ground ball base hits, and most of those coming up the middle. The sun just bakes this field.
Runner at second for Rougned Odor. Look out. Up and in. Almost hit him. This is one bat the Rangers would like to get going ASAP. He's hitless in this series. 0 for 8 so far in this one. And Odor is 0 for his last 22 at the plate. That one's hit well. Right field line. Got a chance. And it's gone. His first hit of the series. A 2-run shot. And just like that, the Rangers take the lead.
And 1 strike away from getting out of the inning. Beltre double. Now Odor. Home run number 32. Well, you mentioned it. He had a long hitless streak going, and he snaps out of it with a big fly, a line drive down the line. Pretty mighty hack. Second baseman with a big power.
A 3 spot for Texas here in the first inning, after the Brewers got 2 against Cole Hamels in the first. They're similar to last night. Now Lucroy fouls one away. Lucroy has been so clutch for the Rangers, and he came up big last night again, driving in 2 runs to give Texas the lead late in that game. Had a double. Very similar to what we just saw with Beltre. Lucroy banged it down the left field line.
Just an RBI machine. Lucroy line to line. Tough to pitch to him and tough to defend him. That's why you don't see a shift with Lucroy at the plate.
And the 0-2 is in the air to right. Santana will make the play. Inning is over, but the Rangers score 3. And we've got some runs on the board early tonight in Arlington. Rougned Odor and a 2-run homer has given the Rangers the lead. 3-run first inning for Texas answers a 2-run first for Milwaukee. Here's Orlando Arcia. He takes strike 1 from Hamels. Orlando comes in batting .217. 4 homers, 16 driven in, and that one is pulled foul. Jumped on it, but down 0-2 now. How'd you like to be Rougned Odor and you figure, wow, you've hit 32 home runs. That surely is going to be the most by a second baseman in the American League. Not the case. Brian Dozier of the Twins has hit 42. Set a record for second baseman.
Yeah.
Picked the wrong year to have a big home run season if you're Odor. Bouncer to Beltre. Nice big hop for him. And Arcia is retired, 1 away here in the second inning.
When you look at Odor, except for the facial hair, I mean the body type, it reminds you a lot of Fernando Vina.
Yeah, good.
Of course,
call.
Fernando Vina didn't have 30-plus home run power. He's more of a spray hitter, but it reminds me a lot of him. You know, not real tall, stocky, tough as nails.
Did Vina have a right like Odor? The jab and the hook.
I know he could take a punch. Albert Bell got him pretty good.
That's true. I remember that. Where do we see Fernando? He was in. Where do we see him? I have a vision of him walking in the booth somewhere, but I don't remember if it was.
It was L.A.
That's right. Maldonado, a little flare into right field. That'll fall, a base hit. So Martin Maldonado with a single. And that is the 4th hit already against Cole Hamels. 2 of them look just like that.
Yeah, trying to come inside. Hamels with that cut fastball. It's been a little bit of a shaky pitch for him lately. A lot of times that cut fastball is going to be in off the plate. That one in on Maldonado, but fights it off into right field.
Here's Rivera. Yadiel back in the starting lineup tonight. He's had a nice good run here, getting starts at third base with the designated hitter in play. A terrific defender. Has 1 hit in this series. Was robbed of a couple more. He's actually been swinging it pretty well. That one's in on the handle, and a little flare is going to fall. And Maldonado is going to tuck it and run. All the way to third he goes. Now Desmond fires to first, and it goes into the dugout. So Maldonado will score, and Rivera will go all the way to third base. And the Brewers.
Yeah, not quite sure what that throw was all about. Not even close. I mean, airmailed everybody into the dugout. You get 1 extra base from the mound and 2 from the field. And check this out, another fish shot, this time by Yadiel Rivera. Maldonado with good speed. Now check this throw out. Good luck. Where's that going? Why are you throwing there? I mean, no chance for Rivera. He wasn't off the bag very far. Just a bad throw.
Costly mistake. Tie game. Brewers even it up. 1 man out. Now a runner at third base. And back to the top of the order in VR with the infield end. VR pops it up. Long run, tough play. Odor's got it, and Rivera's coming all the way, and he will score. Rivera scores on a pop up to second.
Wow, a little nonchalant out at second base. Odor, I mean, he was almost looking at Rivera saying, "I dare you to go." He never slowed down. I think Odor thought he was going to take off and then stop, but he never slowed down. The Rangers are going to take a look at it at home plate. But a mental mistake by Rougned Odor. Check this out. How about this? Might be the shortest sacrifice fly you're ever going to see. Watch him. He just holds on to it and then gets rid of it too late. Nice slide.
Just great base running by Rivera, who put the pressure on him from the beginning, and once he didn't commit, he just kept running.
You know what he was doing? Odor thought he was faking the break to home plate. He was going to stop. He says, "There's no way he's going to take off." And he never slowed down. That's a great slide by Rivera, making that tag long. Lucroy never touched him.
Yeah, just like that, the Brewers score twice. They lead at 4-3 now as Santana swings and misses.
They just love the hustle of this club.
Yeah.
I mean, they never stop. Always pushing the envelope. You saw Maldonado go first to third, right? And then you got Rivera on the throwing error. He's testing Odor's throwing arm.
Well, Rivera forcing Odor to commit to either throw or not throw, and once he got flat-footed, he put it in 5th gear and scores on a great slide. And Maldonado is the one who set the inning up by going first to third on Rivera's hit. And you like the pressure the Brewers are putting on the Rangers tonight.
Jonathan VR owes Rivera a steak dinner.
The shortest sacrifice fly of the season.
Gets an RBI, no at bat on a pop-up to the infield. There you go.
Send Rivera the steak and Odor the lobster. VR with 2 RBIs in this game. And Santana able to check his swing.
Well, Cole Hamels giving up 4 runs in 2 innings. He has been scuffing a little bit. 3 of his last 5 starts have not been very good.
Prior to that run, getting into late August, his last start of August, he was maybe the front runner for the Cy Young Award in the American League. And then he had 3 real bad starts in that 4-game stretch. Called strike 3. Santana's rung up. Inning is over. We got some action in the Lone Star State tonight. Yadiel Rivera with the base running move of the year. Scores on a pop up to second.
And VR Brewers back up by a run. Hey, Brewers season seat holders enjoy the best seats at the lowest prices, plus have access to a number of exclusive awards. Go to brewers.com/ticket plans to place a deposit on your 2017 season ticket plan today.
Back and forth game already. And the Brewers now lead once again 4-3. Mitch Moreland leads off for Texas. He'll be followed by the rookie Mazzara. And then Elvis Andrus. And a drive into right field. Santana makes the catch. That ball was hit like a bullet.
These offenses are swinging at bats.
Pitchers beware. It's the kind of night when the bullpen phone rings, everybody runs for the corners.
Hey, you want who? Oh, he's not here.
Yeah. Not me. Hopefully Anderson can get settled in here for a moment. Brewers have plenty of relievers down there. So 1 away, and here is Nomar Mazzara, one of the top hitting rookies in the American League. Takes a strike. Mazzara, I think that's the first time Jim Joyce has ever called a Mazzara strike. You see how shocked he was?
Yeah.
Totally surprised him.
Takes you a while to get used to it. He's always been that way.
He looked back at him like, he sounded like he really enjoyed calling a strike on me.
Catcher's got to wear earplugs.
I guarantee you it's the first time he's been behind the plate with Mazzara. 0-2 the count. And he lays the bat on one, foul.
I ran into Jim Joyce in the service level a couple of nights ago. Had a nice chat with him. Things are going well with Jimmy. He's been around a long time.
You know what? He's one of those umpires that he'll talk you through it. He'll let you know what he was thinking. Doesn't get defensive about calls, or if you ask him about positioning or a replay scenario, he'll tell you. A lot of respect for him.
A stand-up guy. He is.
Nomar Mazzara, youngest player in the American League when he arrived this year at 21. Little handle shot. And this time Arcia calls everybody off, not willing to take the risk that this one will be lost.
I think the twilight's gone. I think the lights have taken full effect. That didn't take long, but first inning a little bit dicey.
Lights are up full candle, as they say. An inning too late for Jonathan Villar, which led to that leadoff double by Gomez. Andrews lines one to left. That is a foul ball by inches. That was close.
Man, that's one that they could take a look at. Anything past the umpires down the lines is reviewable. Marvin Hudson with the call.
This was close. Ooh, good call, Marvin.
Good eyes.
Certainly foul. Bannister says hit away. Saw a shot of Bannister's bench coach Steve Buechele, former Ranger and Cub, Pirate. Checking in on the replays.
His son's a quarterback, right?
Yeah,
Texas.
University of Texas. The freshman phenom Shane Buechele.
Played against Steve back in the day. He was with the Texas Rangers. Good third baseman.
Yeah, one of the great guys too. And he was at third for a couple of Nolan Ryan's no-hitters here with the Rangers. Was managing at the AA level. He's getting more questions about his son now than at any time. He's now become Shane's father as opposed to Shane being Steve's son. 1-2 pitch to Andrews. Outside.
Always good when the kids can get out from behind the shadow of dad. Blaze their own trail.
Coming inside. Andrews, little flare. That's going to fall. A base hit. Well, we have seen some hits tonight already. 2-out single. Rangers have 4 hits through the first 2 innings.
There's been some hard hit baseballs, but then there's been a number of flares that have dropped. And another one, Chase Anderson getting in on the hands of Elvis Andrews, and he's able to dump it out to short right field. Just not inside enough.
Top of the order here is Gomez. He and Martin Maldonado having a chuckle behind the plate. Carlos reaching on a hustle double in the first inning. Popped one up in the twilight. VR never saw it. And Carlos running all the way ends up at second base, and then he scored on the Beltre double. Rougned Odor then hit a 2-run homer, and just like that the Rangers scored 3 and had a 3-2 lead. Brewers answered with 2 of their own in the top of this inning. Gomez first went to AAA for the Rangers after he was designated for assignment by the Astros. And then the Rangers called him up on August 25th. Signed a deal with the Rangers on August 20th. Hit .210 in Houston this season in 85 games. Got DFA'd on the 10th of August and then didn't sign with Texas until a couple of weeks after that. He had a lot of teams interested, but decided the Rangers were the best fit for him.
Not a good fit for Carlos and the Houston Astros. Not sure why, but it's the way it is. He won't even talk about it.
Well, he avoided all those questions. He had a great run as a Brewer, made an all-star team twice, was a starter at an all-star game once in a Brewers uniform. An electrifying player, Gomez. And drove in or scored, I should say, the winning run in one of the great moments in Brewers franchise history. scoring the winning run in the NLDS against the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2011. Nyjer Morgan had that dramatic base hit.
Tony Plush.
Tony Plush,
the big star.
Oh man, we got to get Tony Plush back to the ballpark. I haven't seen him. I think he's been playing overseas. He's been playing. Last I heard, he was playing in Japan.
He's got fantasy camp written all over him.
Oh man, does he ever?
I mean, how good would he be?
There's a liner in the left, a base hit. Gomez just keeps hitting. Man, this guy is having a serious run here on this homestand. That is his 6th hit already. He's 6 for 10 at the plate.
Yeah, left the breaking pitch up in his zone. Not sure it was a curveball or the changeup. But left it up down the middle. And Gomez is able to get the end of the bat on it and dump it into left field.
Anderson got the first 2 out. Now 2 men are on for Ian Desmond. Rangers have 5 hits in this game already. We're in the 2nd inning. 4 of those 5 hits coming with 2 outs. Little cue shot. Carter will glove it, and he'll flip it to Chase, covering the bag, and that will retire the side. A scoreless inning, the first scoreless half inning of the night. 4-3 Brew Crew. Life Park, home of the Texas Rangers, as rolls off the tongue. Say if you can't catch the games on television, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports Go app. Download the app, take Fox Sports Wisconsin and Brewers baseball with you wherever you go. 3 to play after tonight. The Brewers are headed to Colorado. Series with the Rockies. There's a little family of 4 right there hanging out watching the Brew Crew. Seen a lot of Brewers fans here in the Metroplex.
How great is that, right? You're sitting there behind the Brewers dugout, and you got the food on the dugout, and does it get any better than that?
I tell you. Got your glasses on, future so bright. Got to wear shades with this team, Rock. Ryan Braun leads away for Milwaukee. Carter to follow, then Perez. This will be the best crowd of the series here tonight, with Hamels on the mound.
It's a very late arriving crowd here in Texas.
It's a lot of traffic.
I've noticed that in these 3 games.
It's a lot to manage out there on the old highways. Rangers are 6 weeks away from a vote city council vote for a new ballpark. There's a shot, a base hit. Ryan Braun with a single. He's hit the ball hard sharply twice. There's a line out to center, now a single to left. And here comes Chris Carter. Well, what a month Carter has had in the month of September. Powerball home run count has him with 9 in September. That is the most in the majors. He's sitting on 39 for the season. 1 off the National League lead. That's going to be quite the showdown in Colorado with Arenado and Carter matching up the next 3 nights.
Yeah, nice spot for Chris Carter and the Brewers offense to finish up in Colorado at Coors Field. Ball jumps out of that ballpark.
Good night to hit here tonight as well. It is warm in Arlington tonight. Carter is swinging a foul. 0-2 the count on Chris. That's the way it looks in the NL right now, with Arenado at the top, then Bryant and Carter tied at 39 apiece. A swing and a miss. Carter is down on strikes.
And the best changeup that Hamels has thrown tonight.
Second K for Cole Hamels.
Hamels has not been very sharp in the first 2+ innings. And that was that signature changeup right there. It's a good one. He's got good arm action on it. Tails away from the right-handed batter and down at the knees. That's a good pitch.
1 away with Braun at first, and it'll be Hernan Perez. Big hack by Perez. 0-1 the count. Hernan with an RBI single with 2 outs in the first inning.
Man, waited back on the curveball, able to single into center field with 2 outs.
Braun, good speed at first, and Perez shows bunt. Bunts right through it for strike 2. Perez started game 1 of the series at first base. Back-to-back games as the starting center fielder. What a versatile piece he's been this season. Tigers never imagined Perez as this kind of versatile player. He was a shortstop coming up in Detroit's system, and figured he could play maybe second base and maybe third. That's generally the way it goes for infielders. But the notion of Hernan playing the outfield really started late last year, then going into spring training this season. There's a base hit that is just past Beltre. That's going to get down into the corner, and Braun has a chance to score here. Nope, he'll hold up at third base. And into second is Perez with a double.
And Bronny stopped running. The play was right in front of him. He could see what was going on in the corner. And he kind of pulled up. I'm not sure, but I thought I saw Eddie Cedar sending him. I think Eddie realized that he had slowed down, talking about Braun. And that one right in the corner. And once it didn't hit that wall right there, you thought maybe he had a chance to score, but Carlos Gomez played it pretty well in the corner, got it in quickly. Check out Braun. He can see what's going on, just kind of pulls up. I think actually Eddie was holding him up.
Well, 1 away, second and third now. The Brewers threatening once again. And here is Pena. Manny homered yesterday, just his second homer as a Brewer and his second career major league home run. Flew out to center field, hit it well, but got under it a touch. That's how the first inning ended. Chance to drive it a couple. A roller to short. This will get a run home. Braun is in. Pena is out. But the Brewers add to their lead. It is now 5-3. RBI ground out by Manny Pena.
They're doing a real good job against Cole Hamels. Here's a guy that coming into the game 7th in the American League in strikeouts. He had 194. Brewers are doing a good job putting the ball in play. He only struck out twice. And I've done a pretty good job with men on base.
Those are the splits for Hamels. He's been much better on the road than here in Arlington. This is a very hitter-friendly ballpark. That'll change a little bit when you get in the postseason, though, typically, because the weather cools and you start getting into the fall, and it'll play a little bigger. When it gets all heated up here in the summer, it's as home run and hitter-friendly as it gets.
And extremely hot. You know, this is the hottest ballpark in baseball. In the middle of the summer.
Runner goes. Perez throw to second, and it's in time. Hernan thrown out to end the inning. Lucroy put it right on the bag, and a base running mistake by Perez, making the final out at third. No real reason to do that with 2 away, but the inning is over. Brewers lead 5-3.
Over the Rangers here in the 3rd inning, the final start of the season for Chase Anderson, but the first for him in his home state, a native of Wichita Falls, just 130 miles from here. So Anderson told me he has a group of about 20 family and friends here visiting from the Wichita Falls area, Dallas area as well, and he was really excited. He said he knew at the start of the season this could be an opportunity, but said you just never know in terms of health, the way the rotation plays out, if he would get this opportunity or not. So he's thrilled to have it, and he said the timing is cool with it being his final start of the season, and more important to Craig Counsell, it's his 30th start, meaning he's been healthy, he's been durable, and he's been able to take the ball for this team and give this team a chance to win all season long.
Yeah, and he's having a good finish, right, Sophia?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the key, that he has pitched better as the season has gone on. I think that shutdown that Anderson had in the middle of the season was good for him. He didn't go on the disabled list, but he was skipped in a turn, and he's come back and he's been really strong. Beltran pops up in the infield to start the inning, and 1 away for Chase here in the 3rd.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult the first time you come back to your hometown or very close to your hometown and play your first game in that environment. You know, you got all the family and friends, and you know they have demands on your time. But you know, Chase Anderson, I'm sure when his day to pitch came, as today, kind of like everybody, go have your fun, go head off to Six Flags. I'll see you after the game. Got to stay in your rhythm. Could be a distraction.
Big group of Andersons over at Six Flags across the street. Yeah. It's closed during the week, but they opened it.
You know what I mean. You get the point.
When the bus of Anderson showed up, you know what they said, right?
Just say skedaddle.
No,
that's what Chase was saying to the family. I'm pitching today. I gotta get locked in.
Here's what I'm imagining. Chase says skedaddle. So the whole family, the whole group goes over to Six Flags, and they get into, and they're amazed that the parking lot is so empty. So they park kind of in the back to make sure that they don't get blocked in, and they walk all the way to the front, and then this giant moose says, "Sorry folks, park's closed."
Great movie, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Fly ball to right field. Santana makes a catch for the out. 2 gone. Yeah, that's earlier today. And there's Chase's family on. It's the only roller coaster that ran today.
Yeah, it doesn't look closed to me.
No, it's just the end. They've opened it just for the Anderson family after. Yeah, it's like, there was some complaining, and then they went and the whole plot's laid out there for you, Rock. It's a total reenactment. Matter of fact, it might fall in line with the Tim Dillard social media. He could do a whole bit on.
Yeah.
On vacation.
The Eddie Cedar bit.
Odor tries to bunt his way on. If you have not seen the new Tim Dillard release with Tim interviewing Ed Cedar as Ed Cedar, it is the best thing he's ever produced. He sounds just like him. So funny. There is a bunt. It's a good one too. Anderson barehands it, no play. And after Odor knocks one out his first time up, he bunts his way on with 2 outs here in the 3rd.
And typically, you don't want to be bunting for base hits with 2 outs and nobody on. You want to try and get yourself in a scoring position, maybe hit a double somewhere to get to second base. But look how high on the barrel of the bat his hand is. He dens it nicely in front of home plate. And no chance for anybody to get him out. Once that ball stayed on the grass, it was going to be a hit.
The 5th 2-out hit already for the Rangers. Lucroy now lined out his first time up.
Odor was 14 stolen bases, but he's been caught 7 times.
Yeah.
Well, typically, if you're bunting for base hits with 2 outs and nobody on, you're a base stealer. You can get your way into scoring position.
Rangers have some base stealers in their lineup. They're a team that likes to push it, likes to run. Elvis Andrews has 24. He is their leader. And then you got Ian Desmond with 20. Gomez has 18, but he hasn't been running much here with Texas. 5 of those as a member of the Rangers. And as Rock mentioned, Odor with 14. Two 2-0, 2 outs. Lucroy at the plate. Brewers up 2, and Lucroy fouls it back. Boy, he had one to handle, and he was a little late.
Yeah, right down the middle. It's not often you see Lucroy miss a pitch like that.
Two balls and a strike on Jonathan. Lucroy has maintained his very strong ties with military charities since he has arrived here in Arlington. And last night he had a World War II veteran who was actually on an honor flight from Milwaukee earlier this year. He was here at the game last night. The Stars and Stripes honor flight, which Lucroy actually participated in, flew on one of those charter planes last offseason. You got a big ovation, and it's nice to see Jonathan carry that part of his big league life off the field here to his new team.
Yeah, one of his best friends, a military veteran. He was a Marine, wounded in action in Iraq. Brings around the ballpark once in a while.
Full count to Lucroy. Odor takes off. Lucroy takes ball 4. And more 2-out trouble. 2 on, 2 out. Let's check in with Sophia with more on Lucroy and his military ties here in Arlington.
Well, Craig Counsell made a point of that before the game as well. He said it was a really cool moment for him to be recognized for what he does with the honor flight. And just in general, he was asked about Lucroy as a player and as a person with his time in the Brewers. And he said, you know, you think about Jonathan and how long he's known him. And he said, what you think about is a guy who is dedicated, committed to his work, really wants to be as best as he can be, but also does the things all the right way. He says he goes about his career, his work, off the field commitments, all the right things. And he said, really, it's a great example for some of the young players to follow.
Well, and you get the feeling, right, that the Rangers are going to be Brewers fans' favorite team moving into the postseason, with all of the former Brewers and likable Brewers, very likable Brewers playing for Texas right now.
There's not much more you can say that Craig Counsell didn't say right there. I mean, he said it in a nutshell about Jonathan Lucroy, one of the nicest guys, one of the most intense competitors. He prepares himself well, and he does all the right things both on and off the field. I have a lot of respect for him.
Mitch Moreland at the plate with 2 on, 2 away, and Moreland lifts it high in the air. This should or could stay playable. It's coming back, and Carter will watch it into the dugout. Yeah, that one looked like it had a path to come back, but it didn't. Not sure if there's any wind blowing up there, or
doesn't look like there's a whole lot of wind, at least when you look at the flags out there in center field.
Beltre says, I'm out of here, Big Chris. Oh yeah, I would have had you. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, once it dropped, he helped him.
These guys have a lot of fun, the Rangers. Always laughing, and usually Elvis Andrus is right at the hip of Adrian Beltre, and that's a good hip to be next to for all these years. Big brother, little brother scenario there. 2 on, 2 out. 0-2 to Moreland. A high fastball, trying to get Moreland to chase it.
Always good when your veteran players can police the clubhouse, and you don't have to worry about that if you're managing. Players do that themselves, and when you have guys like Beltre and Carlos Beltran and Cole Hamels, guys like that, I mean, that takes care of itself.
Moreland out in front, looked like a changeup from Anderson, and Braun will put it away. Another scoreless inning. Pitch count is rising for Chase, though. 65 through 3 innings. Champion Texas Rangers as we go to the top of the 4th. Brewers are coming up. And our Carsuit.com trivia question tonight. Who are the 3 catchers in Brewers history with over 500 starts behind the plate? That's a good question. You on that list, Rock?
No.
Not 500?
I think I know a couple of them.
Lucroy would certainly be one. Cole Hamels back on the mound, ready to get started here in the 4th. And he'll face Arcia, who was at the plate when Perez was thrown out at 3rd. Arcia, first ball swinging. Orlando grounded out in the 2nd inning. Hit a bouncer over to Beltre. September 28th today, Rock.
Big day in Brewers history.
And I was just thinking that. This date has some great moments attached to it in the modern Brewers era, the most recent Brewers era that Craig Counsell's been a part of as a player. There's a swing and a miss. Arcia strikes out. First out of the inning. 3rd K for Hamels. So on this date in 2011, the Brewers beat the Pirates 7-3. It was the last day of the season. It was the 96th win of the season, which broke the franchise record for victories. Counsell was a player on that team. And the Brewers won the Central Division in 2011 with those 96 wins. Only the Phillies had a better record. Cole Hamels pitching for the Phillies in 2011. Only the Phillies had a better record that year. On this date in 2008 in Brewers history is the one that maybe is one of our favorite dates.
It's one I'll never forget.
Maldonado pops this one foul. So if you're a Brewer fan and you go back a little bit, you will certainly remember September 28th of 2008. Pitching on short rest, CC Sabathia tossed a complete game. Brewers beat the Cubs. The Mets would lose about a half hour after that game ended to the Marlins. And the Brewers would snap a 26-year drought for the postseason. There's a base hit by Maldonado. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
That day might have been my favorite day in my sports life. I'm talking about playing days, you name it, broadcasting. I mean, I don't remember a better day for the Brewers organization that I witnessed than that game against the Cubs in 08.
Ryan Braun hit a huge home run in the bottom of the 8th inning off Bob Howery. Remember, the Cubs won the division that year. And Braun hit that home run that gave him the lead. Sabathia, we were thinking maybe Sabathia was done after 8. He came back onto the field for the 9th. And what a great memory. CC Sabathia still, for a guy who was around a little over 2 months, had as much impact as any player in franchise history.
Man, without a doubt. Craig Counsell involved in that double play that ended that game.
By the way, also on this date in 2000, the Brewers played the last game at County Stadium
against the Reds.
Yeah, lost to the Reds 8-1. There's a chopper up the middle. Odor gloves it and gets a double play out of it. It's a little bit of a late call by the second base umpire, but Odor did in fact hit the bag with his foot coming across. Well, that was something special right there. Odor, check this out. Nifty footwork. If you're going to be a great boxer, you got to have good feet, right, Rock? He's got them both.
Jump some rope.
coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Miguel Cabrera became just the 9th player in baseball history to have 12 seasons with 100 RBIs or more, as he collected 5 RBIs last night, 3 for 3 with a home run. And bad news continues for the Washington Nationals. Steven Strasburg likely unavailable for the NLDS as he continues to deal with a flexor strain in his right elbow. And one night after D. Gordon provided that incredible moment, the leadoff home run in the Marlins' first game back following Jose Fernandez's death, his childhood friend Aledmus Diaz hit his first career grand slam in his first game back. He had not played since Sunday when he heard the news of his childhood friend. They grew up on the same street in Santa Clara, Cuba. So special moments continue this week.
All right, Sophia, thanks. Mazzara grounds out to start the inning. Yeah, they had the funeral, the public procession today for Jose Fernandez, and that was quite a scene, packed, people everywhere. The entire Marlins organization was there. Maybe a little closure now. It's still such a sad thing. They're going to retire the number, by the way, and there's going to be so much more that the Marlins will unveil throughout the next few months and years, and you figure the impact that Jose Fernandez made on that organization and was going to make.
It's something that you just have to get through. You never get over it. You never do. When you have a teammate like that, family member, you name it. I mean, you just try and figure out a way to, get your job done and get through life, but that will never, ever get out of the hearts and minds of anybody. That is a tough deal.
Yeah, one of the bright young stars in the game. Effervescent personality as well. That was just a major loss and a major shock coming down on Sunday. Elvis Andrus takes a curveball. 2 balls and a strike on the Rangers shortstop, who singled his last time up. By the way, we have a scoring change. I don't agree with it, but it's, I guess, in the rights of the official scorer to make this change. They have taken the RBI away from VR. If you weren't with us, there was a pop-up to second base by VR with Yadiel Rivera at third, and then he scored on that pop-up. Forced to throw from Odor. Odor was a little bit flat-footed and didn't make the play. And originally it was scored as a sac fly and an RBI, which I thought was correct. But they've taken that away, and now 2 unearned runs for Hamels.
What did they do? Give him an error?
There's going to be an error on Rivera, so Yadiel bobbled for a moment and then looked like he didn't have a handle on the throw and throws it off the Rangers dugout.
Yeah, the tough part of the play is fielding the ground ball. Has plenty of time and just not able to get it anywhere close. And Chris Carter, I think, was thinking, if I go after that baseball anymore, I might break my wrist. Elvis Andrus might run right into me, and that's not a very good throw by Yadiel Rivera. You don't see that much out of him.
So that is going to be an error that puts a runner at second base. Craig Counsell, I think, wants to have a look at something here.
So getting back to the VR non-RBI, what was the ruling?
Yeah, right. As of right now, it's a fielder's choice. There is no rule. There's no error, I should say. That's kind of what you're asking. There's no error charge yet. VR is out on an F4 on a foul pop.
So if there's no, is it an earned run? It's got to be an earned run if there's no error, right?
That's a good question, because I'm looking at the earned runs. The official line for Hamels right now is 5 runs, 3 earned. We really didn't get a great explanation.
Sometimes they just try and be too cute, these official scores. I mean, that's a sac fly. I mean, Rivera never stopped. He slowed down, but then he kept going.
Well, the official scorer came in, made an announcement. He's taken the RBI away from VR. But again, you're asking great questions here, because it doesn't quite add up.
No, they'll shake it all out after the game.
Yeah, they will.
I mean,
and
baseball,
the Brewers can always appeal.
Well, baseball monitors these decisions like that. I mean, the Brewers can go to Major League Baseball. They go to the league office and they'll take a look at it. And I would imagine at some point they're going to give VR a sac fly and an RBI. That's the easy ruling. Sometimes they try and be a little bit tricky, particularly when a guy like Cole Hamels is out on the mound and you're at home.
That one is high. Here's the play we're talking about. Great base running here. So this is a pop-up. Rivera's at third and looks routine. And I'm sure Odor never imagined Rivera was going to keep running. And he had a great slide. He was saved. I don't see how you could score that any other way but a sacrifice.
Well, you can't. I mean, you can't. I mean, that's pretty cut and dry.
And if you look at the official box score right now, it shows that 2 of the runs are unearned for Hamels, yet according to this box score here, VR is 1 for 1 with 2 RBIs, so it hasn't credited with a sac fly. That's what doesn't add up for me. So we'll get it all straightened out. We just heard the announcement by the official scorer on what he was doing. Gomez a little half swing. That's actually a foul tip strike.
Well, 2 ways you can score a run that's unearned. That's with an error or a pass ball. Pass balls are not earned runs. Wild pitches are. And neither one of those things were in play there on that play.
Only thing I can think of, if you're going to go that route, sorry to take you down this path, folks, but it's a little interesting. If you're saying that Rivera would not have been at third because of the throwing error by Desmond, I guess if you reroute the inning, you could say that it was an unearned run because of the Desmond error, right?
Okay.
So I think that's probably what he's going with. So still a sac fly as Gomez draws a walk. And now 2 on with 1 out.
So with that logic, I get that. I mean, I can understand that, but it's still a sac fly and an RBI.
Yeah, still a sac fly.
Okay, that's where I was confused.
Derek Johnson on his way out. Quick trip to the mound for the Brewer pitching coach. Rob Scahill starting to get active in the bullpen. I'm guessing the official scorer, when he made the announcement, must have just made a mistake saying that he was taking a sacrifice fly away, because it's not in the official scoring of that play. So we'll just
Whichever way you shake it, the
he
run
confused
counts.
us.
The run counts. Whichever way you want to explain it. Official scorers have discretion. I do. I mean, I kind of get that reasoning. You know, that throw that Desmond made that went in the dugout. I guess there's his reasoning. So case closed.
Desmond with 2 men on takes a strike.
Every half inning has been a grind for these starting pitchers.
Yes, it has. Look at the pitch count for Anderson too. We're only in the 4th inning. This will be number 80. And a base hit. Charging hard is Santana. They're going to send the runner. The throw comes all the way in, and safe at the plate is Andrews. Rangers get an RBI from Ian Desmond, a single. And the runner that reached on the error scores the run.
Santana very fortunate that Carlos Gomez just stayed at second base. Threw this one in all the way in on the fly. And Gomez could have easily gotten into third base. Run in. Now it's a 1-run game. Got to hit the cutoff man. But it doesn't cost him a base.
So it's 5-4 Milwaukee. First and second with 1 out for Beltran, who's 0 for 2. Runners go. Throw goes to second. And now a runner in a rundown. The tag. Oh, he's safe. That's going to be close. They might take a look at this one.
Yeah.
Desmond got back. The call on the field safe as Gomez ends up at third base.
Yeah, good throw by Maldonado. He knew he didn't have a chance at Gomez at third base. Trail runner never gets as good a jump. His throw in his second. Desmond realizes he's an easy out. And the call on the field is safe.
Oh, he's out.
And he's out. He hits him on the arm. He's out.
This one will be overturned for sure. And Craig Counsell has issued a challenge. I think Desmond knows he's out as well.
I guess Chad Fairchild just didn't see Carter tag the arm. He was looking at something else.
It shouldn't take long. Fairchild, the taller of the umpires, is over. He's the calling umpire. The crew chief, Jim Joyce, will get the word from the replay center in New York.
It shouldn't take long.
Call on the field is safe.
Right arm right there. He's out. And Desmond not at the bag.
And here comes the ruling. He is out, and it's overturned. That's a big play in this game. That's the second out of the inning. Good challenge by Craig Counsell. Pretty cut and dry there. So now Beltran is at the plate in a 1-0 count with a runner at third and 2 outs now. And that one is into shallow right, but there's a man there. VR out in the grass in the rover position, makes a catch, inning over. Quick turn for the Brewers there with the challenge and then the out. They still lead. As we go to the 5th inning, and Jonathan VR will lead the way. Jonathan VR with a home run on the very first pitch of the game, and his 19th of the year, so he's a home run shy of joining this group. So it has been done on 6 occasions in the modern era of baseball where a player has had 20 or more homers and 60 or more steals in a season. Hasn't been done since Rickey Henderson did it in 1990. And if VR hits a a home run, one more this season, then he will join that group. What a special season this will be for Jonathan Villar. Already is. But then you start putting yourself in that company. This guy's got a lot of potential. You know, you think about him as a veteran guy because he played for the Phillies in the minor leagues, traded to the Astros, traded to the Brewers. He's been around a little bit. He's 25 years of age. Just getting his first chance to play every day like this.
Yeah. Hey, remember early in the year when Craig Counsell told us that he thinks Jonathan Villar could be a 25 home run guy? We kind of looked at him cross-eyed.
Right.
But look at him. I mean, he's not going to do it 20 home runs.
He said that in late April.
Yeah.
Craig Counsell. I was down there listening to a conversation between Counsell and Braun. They were talking about Villar. Braun was saying, I think this guy can hit some home runs. Counsell looked at me and us and said, I think he could hit 25 when he gets a couple of seasons of at-bats, when he gets around 1,000 at-bats in his big league career. The surprising part is that it's all happened so early.
Right. First full season.
Never played this much, never had this many at-bats, and he's got career highs across the board. 2-2 pitch, up and in, he got him, fastball. And a strikeout to start the fifth for Cole Hamels.
Yes, the pitch before that last one that set up that fastball up. Change up. Villar swung through it and set up the fastball up. Third strikeout. Make that 4.
Here's Santana now. Swing and a miss. 1-1. Hamels' next start will be game 1 of the American League Division Series. So he had the choice to skip a couple of days, come back over the weekend, and then start the DS on regular rest. Ground ball in the hole, and it gets under the glove of Elvis Andrus. Whoa. That's about as nonchalant as it gets for Andrus, and he's as sure-handed as it gets as well.
He's trying to get himself in position to throw because he realizes Santana can run. Right under the glove. He picked the glove up a little bit too soon. Beltre stops. Ball goes under the glove and into left field.
Well, Cole Hamels has to be burning up right now. His defense has been very poor behind him here tonight.
This has not been a defensive clinic tonight by either team.
No, you're right. So it's an error. E6. Runner at first, one away, and Braun coming up, who has great numbers against Cole Hamels throughout his career. And he's hit the ball sharply twice tonight. Braun hit a bullet for an out in the first inning to center field, caught by Desmond on a slide. And then he had a single in the hole in the third, pulled it between third and short. Strike 2 on Braun. Great splits against lefties this year, and that's typically been the case for Ryan. We haven't seen that in the last couple of seasons, but he's back to his old form against southpaws this season.
Talked to Ryan today around the batting cage, congratulate him for a great year. He said, thank you. I think I could have done better. It's okay though.
He's got 500 at-bats. That's a good number for him.
You know what makes him great? He's never satisfied. That guy said, yeah, you know what? It has been a good year. It's ready to stay healthy, but Ron always thinking he can do better. He can get more. That's what makes him so great.
He truly believes if he was physically able to play every day, as in every game, 162, There's a line at a third. Throw to first is late. And Braun is out again on a line drive. Second out of the inning. Braun believes he could hit 40 and drive in 120 every season if he could play 162, but he feels his body won't let him, and
right.
It's not arrogance, it's just
confidence.
He believes in his ability.
Confidence, and always figures he can do better.
Can't argue with him, really. Not with what he's proven to be in his career.
Should be 3 for 3 tonight, any luck.
Carter a little bit late. Half swing, he goes, unable to check it. Oh, 2 to Carter. Brewers up 5-4, and Carter's down on strikes. Inning is over. Hamill's starting to lock it in now. He's got 5 punch-outs, back-to-back scoreless innings. Rangers are coming up.
Holding on to a 5-4 lead, and Roberto Clemente dedicated his life to helping others. In honor of the late Hall of Famer and humanitarian, Major League Baseball annually bestows the Roberto Clemente Award to a player who best represents the game through sportsmanship, community involvement, and positive contributions both on and off the field. A player from each club is nominated, and Ryan Braun is the Brewers nominee. You can vote for Ryan at MLBcommunity.org using the hashtag VoteBraun on Twitter and Facebook. And guys, it was just over the final homestand, over that final weekend at Miller Park. Ryan had purchased 1,000 tickets to donate to military charities. So it's one of the many things that Braun does over the course of the season for the Milwaukee community.
Yeah, a lot of it we know about, right, Sophia? A lot of it we don't. He does terrific work, great humanitarian work. Even his owner admits to that. Mark Atanasio was telling us about all the things that Braun does and has done throughout his career in Milwaukee, which might be coming to an end. We don't know. Been a lot of rumors about Braun being traded this offseason. Beltre lines one into right center. That's going to get down. Perez bobbles briefly, and Beltre's in with a belly flop. It's a double.
Did you see how he caught that ball? Between the legs. Are you kidding me? And had he been able to keep it in the glove, he might have got Beltre out at second base. Check this out. Are you kidding? Look at this. Not able to hold on to it. If he did, he might have had a play at second base. I don't think I've seen that before. It's like a basketball player.
Well, knowing Perez and how heady he is, I'm guessing there's a purpose for that.
Get himself in position to throw.
It doesn't feel like style, or is it? Is it a little style points?
Well, he's trying to get himself in position to throw, and it turned out to have style points attached to it. I mean, he wasn't doing it to be a hot dog. He was trying to get himself in position to throw, and that's just the way it turned out.
Curveball hit on the ground out to VR out in the grass on the shift, and Beltre over to third base, advancing on the ground ball by Odor.
When's the last time you heard somebody say hot dog? Being a hot dog. Dating myself a little bit.
I think Ralph Kiner said it in a Mets broadcast about 30 years ago.
Right, yeah.
Got a little mustard on there.
But he's not a real flashy guy. He's not that kind of guy. I mean, if certain other guys might do that, I might think differently.
Right. That's my point. It's a little out of character. So he obviously thought there was a reason for it. If he just reached down normally, like a normal center fielder would, he probably felt like he couldn't get enough on the throw to make a play at second. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Runner at third, tying run at third for Lucroy. Beltre doubles, moves to third on the grounder. Lucroy up there 0 for 1 with a walk. Beltre's always picking at other players. Garcia and Beltre, that's great. Garcia's right there matching wits with the 37-year-old Beltre.
Future Hall of Famer.
Lucroy fouls it back. He was a touch late, and it's 1-2. Lucroy's a perfect mix for this team because there are a lot of characters on this team, free spirits like Andrews and Beltre, and Lucroy's all business though, and you need a good balance.
Yeah,
players like that.
How about Carlos Gomez? Where does he fit in?
Yeah, he's in his own section. He's got his own hallway.
Yeah.
There's a swing and a miss. Lucroy strikes out. Took a big hack, and Anderson picks up the K for the second out of the inning. That'll allow the Brewers infielders to back up.
Yeah, up out of the strike zone. High fastball. Lucroy chases it. And not often Lucroy not going to get the job done with a man at third, less than 2.
Mitch Moreland now 0 for 2, although he hit one sharply to right his first at bat. And he is way out in front. Change up that time. That's the pitch that Anderson got him to fly out on to end the inning in the third. He left 2 men on base. Moreland was out in front and had a little lazy fly ball to Braun and left. And now a high fastball is fouled away. Chase is really using the high fastball effectively at times tonight. That's hard to convince yourself to do when you throw 90, 92 miles an hour.
Yeah. But it's been effective.
Works beautifully with his curveball.
Just really hasn't had good command of either the curveball or changeup. And that's a bit unusual. That curveball for Anderson for a long stretch of games has been pretty good. Beltre taking about whatever he wants.
Anderson in the windup. And now Moreland into center field. Pretty well hit, but Perez turns and runs to the spot and makes a play to end the inning. So Anderson is through 5. We go to the 6th. The Brewers lead by a run. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Hupy and Abraham. 1-800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. It's a beautiful night in North Texas. Last day in Texas for the Brew Crew. They're trying to win this series against a team with the best home record in the American League, the Texas Rangers. Cole Hamels back to work. Brewers up a run. And we go to the 6th inning now. Here is Hernan Perez with 2 hits tonight. At the plate presented by Wendy's. Perez drove in a run with a 2-out single in the first. And then had a double his last time up. Hamels will not pitch again until next Thursday, so he's going to have 8 days between starts. Normally you pitch every 5th day. And he preferred to manage his between starts during what will be downtime for the Rangers as they wait to start their postseason. Fly ball into deep left center. Gomez is there, and there's out number 1. And that's the kind of leeway and the kind of conversation you have with a guy who has had a lot of success in the postseason, has been there, is used to it, understands what postseason pitching is all about. And I think you don't even ask questions if Hamels
ask him what he wants to do.
If he wants to take that time, and he'll throw a couple extra side days or whatever he wants to do, whatever he's done in the past. That was that way with the Phillies too. Even though he starred in that rotation, remember in 08 he was the MVP of the World Series, but in the subsequent years Cliff Lee arrived. Roy Halladay was the ace of that staff. Backhanded by Beltre, and Pena is retired.
Yeah, guys like Cole Hamels, I mean, they set their own schedules. And you just gotta, you know, give credit where credit's due. You know, the coaching staff, manager asking him what he thinks is best. They're not going to tell him what he thinks is going to be best for him going into the playoffs. And nice to have that kind of veteran leadership.
Now, one of the more impressive playoff games that Hamels has pitched, obviously his success in the World Series stands above all, and this series in 2010, the year Roy Halladay threw the no-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds in game 1 of that series, and then Cliff Lee came back, actually as Roy Oswalder came back and pitched in game 2, and then it went back to Cincinnati, right? And the Reds were eager to get back to their home crowd and feeling like that was going to be what they needed. Get back home. The crowd was electric at Great American Ballpark, and Cole Hamels didn't let them out of their seats all night. He completely dominated the Reds, and the Phillies would go on to sweep that series.
Yeah, well, you think about the success that Cole Hamels had and the ballpark he pitched in Philly. That is a good hitter's ballpark, and he put up some terrific numbers.
2 balls and a strike. Arcia swing and a miss. 2-2 now. Cole Hamels' last start as a Philadelphia Philly was a no-hitter at Wrigley against the Cubs, and then he was traded to Texas. That's a good way to finish your Philly career.
Lasting memory. Got that kind of stuff. I mean, with that fastball changeup, been a bit inconsistent tonight. You know, once again, you know, Brewers able to get some hits tonight against his Texas pitching staff. Brewers actually out hit the Rangers last night, lost.
Let a couple of leads get away last night. 2-2 the count. Wow, almost hit him. When Hamill starts game 1 of the division series next Thursday, it will be his 16th career start in the postseason. Was the MVP of the 08 NLCS against the Dodgers and in the 08 World Series. He's got the pedigree. Not having a great night tonight, but he has settled in and is posted 3 scoreless at this point. Go to the bottom of the 6th. Rangers are coming up at the bottom of their order coming up. And a reminder here that the 16-17 Bucks schedule has been released, and with a half-season ticket package, you're guaranteed a ticket to all of the top matchups, including opening night on October 26th and games against the world champion Cavs. Also see the Warriors, the Bulls. You can visit foxsportswisconsin.com and click on the upcoming events tab for details. I just got a partial NBA schedule. I've got a Bucks game.
Do you?
On TNT. I'm very excited about that.
Nice.
Bulls Bucks, December 15th on national television. We thought we'd bring a camera to your house and, you know,
In Milwaukee?
yeah, like have a barbecue for the crew and be great. Look forward to that. Pencil that in, Rock.
I will. I'll have you over.
New pitcher for the Brew Crew is Rob Scahill.
How many?
100 or so.
Yeah, that's no big deal. And numbers for Scahill: earned run average under 4, 29th appearance of the year, last pitched on Saturday at home against Cincinnati.
Is that the kind of gathering you'd fill up the moat, or would you leave it dry?
We'd empty it. Don't want any accidents. Of course, we keep everybody on the other side of the moat.
Oh, right,
we don't want
right,
anybody in the
right.
castle.
That's true. Drop the bridge down. That fire-breathing dragon of a dog you have, Rupert. The size of Bill's hand. He has a very intimidating bark, though, doesn't he, Rupert?
You got to stop mentioning him. He's getting a big head. He realizes you're talking about him. Starting to take liberties.
Big man with a small dog. Bill Schroeder.
Very manageable.
Put him in your wallet. The bouncing ball. Shift is on. That's Arcia over there. And Mazzara makes a play. Or Mazzara is out, I should say. Arcia makes the play. Yeah, one away. So Scahill comes on for Anderson. Chase, in his final start of the year, holds up well against the heavy-hitting Rangers. 5 innings, 8 hits.
I mean, he grinded through every inning, did not have a 3-up, 3-down inning.
One of those 4 runs is unearned, so 4 runs, 3 earned against Chase. And if the Brewers bullpen can take it the rest of the way, he'll finish with a victory, and we'll head into the offseason with a 10-11 season. And you say that's nothing to write home about, but when you consider how he finished the season, it's a good rally for Chase.
Yeah, no kidding. There was a point about midway through the season, he was really having a rough time, not just losing games, but very rarely able to get out of the 4th, 5th inning.
His final ERA at 4.39. Suppose he could pitch out of the bullpen, but unlikely. Rivera gobbles this one up, and a good throw to get Andrews. 2 outs.
Hey, keep up with the crew wherever you are with MLB.com At Bat, the official app of the Brewers, featuring live broadcasts, scoring updates, breaking news, and more. Download At Bat today, free for your smartphone or tablet. Maybe get a couple of Rupert updates on the MLB.com At Bat.
Maybe just on the local Brewers site on MLB.com. I can't imagine Lou Rupert's gone nationwide.
Oh, he's national.
Here's Gomez, and he takes a strike. Gomez asked about Rupert. So how your little dog doing?
Pero.
There's a line drive to left. Braun is there fighting the lights. He makes the catch for the out, and a 3-up, 3-down inning. 8-pitch inning for Rob Scahill. To the 7th we go in Arlington. As we go to the 7th inning, and our Carsoup.com trivia question tonight: the 3 catchers in franchise history with over 500 starts behind the plate. Lucroy is one of them. Charlie Moore is the franchise leader, and then B.J. Surhoff. Were you on all those?
I knew B.J. I wasn't sure about Charlie, but I thought maybe it would have been Dave Nilsson. Caught a lot.
20 starts for Lucroy from being the franchise leader in that category. Would have had it by now had they not traded him away. Cole Hamels back out there for his 7th inning, coming off his best inning. 3-up, 3-down, 6th. Jeremy Jeffress loosening in the bullpen. Maldonado's had a good night tonight against Hamels. He's been on everything.
Yeah, he's seeing the baseball. Base hit to right, base hit to left. Scored a run. keeping Hamels in the ball game, and I would imagine this might be his last inning. Pitch count getting near 100. I think they'd like to keep him in the game long enough to see if he can pick up a win.
Hamels was front and center in the Cy Young race going into the final month of the season. I think he's on the outside looking in right now, though. Rick Porcello, Corey Kluber. Got to put Zach Britton in that race, the terrific closer. He's had an unbelievable season statistically, closing games for the Orioles. Verlander has been great. I think that's maybe your final four. I don't know. That would be my final four at this point. Not sure how I feel about a closer for the Cy Young Award. It's happened before, but I've heard so many arguments against, and a pitcher who is a starter, logs all the innings, picks up that fifth day for an organization. Maldonado grounds to Andrews, and there is out number one. And closers have their own award. It's not as prestigious as the Cy Young Award, but what are your thoughts about a closer versus a starter?
I think that, I think that if there's a starting pitcher out there that has had just as good a year statistically, I mean, not the same numbers, but relatively speaking, I would give the nod to a starting pitcher for sure. But I mean, you have a closer, like you have guys, that rack up, like Thigpen type stuff, Gagne type numbers. I mean, big save numbers on a winning team. I see nothing wrong with it. There has been precedent where closers have won the Cy Young. No issue with that. But if it's close, I would certainly give a nod to the starting pitcher.
Dennis Eckersley was the first closer, modern closer, the one-inning closer to win the Cy Young. Also won an MVP. Mike Marshall was the first reliever to win the Cy Young Award with the Dodgers. That was early 70s, 74, I think. But what he did was so unprecedented, the amount of games that he pitched.
It was over 100, right?
Yeah. You could see that.
The screwball.
Eric Gagne won the Cy Young Award. He was a closer with the Dodgers, the former Brewer. Fly ball deep right field, and Mazzara's got it. That ball really traveled into right. Didn't sound great off the bat, but had some carry to it. Rivera is out, and 2 gone in the inning for Hamels. We go to the top of the order.
And a perfect time for the Tavern of the Game winner, Dale's Twin Pines Tavern in Cumberland, if they call the Brewers by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. They get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. That's April or May of next year. This is offered courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Here's VR, and he takes a ball. There's a 1-0, and a curveball misses down and in. First pitch of the ball game. Jonathan VR launched one out. Number 19 just cleared the wall, and the Brewers had a 1-0 lead before most got to their seats here tonight in Arlington. 2-0 to VR. Takes a strike. VR is on the Powerball home run leaderboard. Carter is 1 off the league lead. You got Braun with 30. And then VR with 19. 2-2 to Jonathan. Rangers will have Desmond, Beltran, and Beltre coming up in the 7th. Two balls, two strikes. And VR in the air to right to Mazzara. That will retire the side. And Cole Hamels finishes strong here tonight. Another 3-up, 3-down inning. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. 5-4 Brew Crew, downtown Dallas. 2 miles from there, we're in Arlington and the home of the Rangers. Go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Don't forget, postseason is coming your way. Postseason will run through Arlington, Texas. But the National League Division Series is on FS1, and it starts October 7th. Great time of year. Fox has the National League this year, Fox and MLB Network. TBS has the American League this season. Carlos Torres is on to pitch, and he is going to have to earn it here tonight. Desmond, Beltran, and Beltre coming up. 2-3-4 in the Rangers lineup. And Milwaukee clinging to a 1-run lead, facing the team that has more comeback wins this year, 48 of them, than any other team in baseball.
Well, this Brewers bullpen has been very good, and Carlos Torres has been right at the top of the list. Saw him on the first game of this series. That was on Monday. Scoreless inning.
And Desmond fouls it off, chasing the high fastball. I don't know if this is a trend, something that teams that are scouting the Rangers would see tonight that would be different from the regular season, but they seem to chase a ton of high fastballs.
Yeah. And really haven't done much damage on these high fastballs tonight.
Back upstairs goes Torres.
Although the way these guys can hit home runs, you don't want to be testing that theory too much.
Beltran due next. Three balls and a strike on Desmond. In there, strike 2.
Cut fastball, barely catching that inside corner.
3-2. Desmond lines one, caught by VR. Hit it like a bullet, but VR was there to make the play. And the first out of the inning.
Almost same spot, down and in. Boy, and Desmond gave that one a pretty good swing. Able to get it, but VR positioned perfectly. Good job by the Brewers coaching staff, scouting department, setting VR right in a perfect spot. Yep, that one hurt.
VR took his glove off. His palm stings. That one got him right in the middle of that glove. Big swing by Beltran. Keeping an eye on the Red Sox Yankees. Boston has a 3-0 lead, bottom of the ninth, but the Yankees have just loaded the bases. Boston's elimination number is 1, so a win and they win the division. And then all 6 division winners would be clinched at that point. Boston is the last division winner yet to clinch. And then you can really start to dial in on the wild card races, which we have been anyway. They are good ones out there. Both leagues. 3 teams for 2 spots in the National League. And you could legitimately say 5 teams for 2 spots in the American League. Although it would take some kind of miraculous turnabout for those bottom 2 teams in the AL.
Might take an extra game in both leagues, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. It could happen.
Yeah.
A tiebreaker, which would be Monday. Season ends Sunday, regular season. There's a window for a tiebreaker Monday. The American League wild card game is Tuesday. National League wild card game is Wednesday. So that's what it looks like right now in the AL.
Orioles with a little breathing room.
And don't forget Sunday, an interesting twist this year, which we love. All games are going to start at the same time. So that could set up some amazing finishes. Half swing, he goes, unable to check it. Beltran is out. And 2 up and 2 down for Torres.
Another high fastball, you're right. I mean, might be the scouting report on these Rangers, and once again pitch out of the strike zone. That ball about neck high, and Beltran offers on it and can't hold up. Look how high this pitch is. Veteran can't hold up on it.
2 up, 2 down. Here is Beltre now, who has 2 hits in this game, 2 doubles. First one drove in a run in the first. Hamels looks like he's done for the night. Right at 100 pitches, 7 innings. They've got Jeffress, the former Brewer, ready in the bullpen. He'll be coming on for the 8th. Buckled his knees. A breaking ball from Torres.
Yeah, slide to that time and completely fooled him. Well, he's been terrific. Talk about a guy that you really didn't know what to expect. Not sure what you're going to get out of him. He's been great.
And a swing and a miss. A strikeout for Torres. 3 up, 3 down. Might see Torres come back out for the 8th. We go to the 8th. Brewers coming to bat with a lead. Chad with Derek Johnson. You wonder if he's coming back out for the 8th. Might see Knebel as well. Good work, though. 3 up and 3 down.
Well, he certainly doesn't give you the body language like he's done.
5-4 Brewers as we go to the 8th. By the way, a quick reminder here that Fantasy Camp is on the board and coming soon. Now, Fantasy Camp is January 22nd through the 29th, but the most important part of this, you're running out of days to sign up and get a free personalized big league glove, a Spider's glove. These are legitimate gloves. You got to do that by October 1st.
Yeah,
just go to brewers.com/fantasy.
Yeah, you got to sign up. You get that glove by Christmas. You have a chance to break it in. And yeah, we're excited about Fantasy Camp. We got a good group of coaches. Best part of the year for me, that week in Fantasy Camp gets the baseball season kicked off. Well, we saw Jeremy Jeffress on Monday, his first appearance since being reactivated, and 58 appearances. We don't have to tell you how good he was with the Brewers. Outstanding numbers as the Brewers closer. 2.45 ERA overall. He only allowed 2 home runs.
Domingo Santana will start it against Jeffress. Domingo with a hit tonight, scored a run, reached on an error. He's 1 for 3. That one's up the middle and through, a base hit. Man, Domingo Santana, he has arrived once again in the month of September.
And not only does it, feel good for Santana going into the offseason, knowing he's healthy and swinging the bat well. You could say the same for the Brewers. I mean, they had counted on him big time going into the year, and I think they feel as though they can count on him for next year.
Last 20 games, he's hitting over 300. He's up around 290 since he came back from the DL. That's a pretty good sample size, too. That covers 34 games.
And if you're an organization and the guy missed that much time with 2 different issues, you just don't know going forward. But I think he's answered all the questions here in September.
Braun bounces to third base, to second for 1. Odor to first. Double play. Jeffress gets the ground ball. Rangers go around the horn. Something they do well. And 2 outs with 1 swing of the bat wipes out the lead single.
And 2 double plays tonight. That gives them 188 double plays, and that one about as routine as it gets.
That big curveball by Jeffress. These are big innings for Jeremy coming back. It's just his 2nd appearance since coming back. Was put on the restricted list. He had to go through an alcohol rehab scenario, and this is his 2nd game, and the Rangers are trying to find out if he is going to be able to get his velocity back and going to be good enough to put on the postseason roster. He's not throwing 96, 97 like he was, but he's still throwing 93, 94, and he's got a lot of movement on his fastball in what we've seen the first 2 games. And he always has that good curveball. Rangers aren't exactly comfortable with their closer. Now Dyson has saved 37. That's a good number. But boy, his saves are a wild ride, as it was last night. Again, he's one of those closers that feels like he has base runners on all the time. Jeffress was a dominant closer with the Brewers this season. That one just missed.
It still doesn't have that velocity. You could see 93 miles an hour. He was sitting around 96, 97. With Milwaukee, velocity way down for him. You figure that's going to come back at some point. Rangers hoping sooner than later.
3-1 is low, ball 4, and Carter is on. So a 2-out base runner against Jeffress. And that'll bring up Perez, and let's check in with Sophia.
Well, Craig Counsell was asked about Jeremy Jeffress's return to the Rangers, and he said, you know, when you think about him and his time in Milwaukee, we've really seen him grow up since he was 18 years old when he was drafted in 2006. He said, obviously, we missed a few years as he was traded away to Kansas City and then Toronto, but he said we really watched him go through some of those growing pains, but ultimately what you take away, he was always a phenomenal teammate, always a favorite in the clubhouse, and a great competitor. He said he always loved to compete on the mound, and he put himself in a position to really have sustained success earlier this season.
All right, Sophia, thanks. He gets a ground out, and he works a scoreless inning. That'll be big for him. Jeffress back in the mix with the Rangers. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Brewers lead by a run. Go to the bottom of the 8th. Rougned Odor will lead off, and the Brewers will bring on Corey Knebel, a former Ranger. Pitched in their minor league system. He was acquired from the Tigers and then flipped to the Brewers that offseason. That was a couple of seasons ago. And the native Texan is on the mound as a setup man here with a 1-run lead. Odor, Lucroy, and Moreland coming up for Texas.
Yeah, when you saw a picture of that shot of Torres in the dugout, it looked like he was going to come back out, but it's going to be Knebel. His first appearance in the series, last pitched on Friday against the Reds. 3 up, 3 down inning.
Running out of superlatives for Carlos Torres. This guy just shows up every night and delivers.
I guess if you're going to crown an MVP of the bullpen, it's got to be Tyler Thornburg, but a close second would be Torres.
Yeah,
for sure.
with you. Good call.
Yeah, he's been great, particularly where he started from. Got released from the Braves.
There's that high fastball again. Odor chases, and Knebel with a punch out to start the 8th.
Yeah, 3 consecutive strikeouts by the Brewers bullpen. That high fastball has been kryptonite for this Texas offense tonight. Yeah, fastball out of the strike zone and another swing and a miss.
Lucroy now takes a strike. Got an update from Yankee Stadium. Boston had a 3-0 lead going into the 9th. Yankees scored 5. Mark Teixeira hit a grand slam walk-off home run. However, the Blue Jays lost tonight, and so the Red Sox have won the division. Boston's magic number was 1 over Toronto. Orioles beat the Blue Jays 3-2.
So they're going to be celebrating in with the Red Sox tonight.
Get walked off, spray champagne anyway.
Yeah, why not?
They've earned it.
Yep, been a good year for them.
Not the way they wanted to go out. They actually had to. They pulled Craig Kimbrell in that game.
Joe Kelly gave up the home run. He's not going to be too happy. Pull your closer right at the end of the season.
Yeah, man, how about that?
Yeah.
Yankees are still fighting in the American League. Well, their elimination number is 1 in the wild card, so they're almost done. But Toronto lost. Baltimore. Toronto has the top spot in the wild card, then the Orioles. So all of the division leaders have been crowned champions now. Lucroy to center, and Perez, oh, it's out of his glove. He came in, then went back, and Lucroy is into second base. That just didn't look right from the start. It looked like Perez had a bad route and then got into a little bit of panic mode.
Yeah, the first time really in any one of the positions that he's played this year that he looked as though he was a little bit confused, a little inexperience out there. You can see him coming in, then go back right off the end of the glove, and that might very well be another error for the Brewers. We'll see how they score it. It could go as a double. It'll be an E8.
Well, it puts a tying run at second base. Pinch runner is Delino DeShields. And Mitch Moreland is coming up. Well, that could be a huge misplay by Perez. Tying run at second base. Moreland takes one up and in.
Going to give him an error.
Now Knebel having to navigate here with a runner at second. 96-mile-an-hour fastball misses. 2-0 now on Moreland. This is a very confident Rangers team when it comes to deficits late. They come back often. .2-0 pitch. Moreland chases a high fastball. I'm not sure I've seen a team swing at this many high fastballs throughout the course of a game.
Especially early in the count, 2-0. You can understand maybe trying to protect the play with 2 strikes, but 2-0 pitch, it could have been 3-0. And they really haven't been able to make much contact on those high fastballs, even high strikes in the zone.
2 balls and a strike. Fast runner at second into Shields. He's the tying run as we play in the bottom of the 8th inning. Inside, ball 3. Tyler Thornburg is loosening in the Brewer bullpen right now. I wonder if Counsell would bring him on for a multi-inning save attempt. He's done it in the past, and Thornburg's actually been successful across multiple innings. Knebel should have 2 outs and nobody on. Instead, the tying run in scoring position now. Perez has been very good in center field. First time he's ever played there here in the month of September. Never played the position.
Sometimes that inexperience catches up to you.
And a strike. He threw him a breaking ball on a 3-1 count. What a big pitch that was for Knebel.
Yeah, right. Got it in the zone. Had first base open, but that's a gutsy pitch right down the middle.
Oh. And that's got Moreland's wheels spinning, I'm sure. So now what do you get? A fastball or a curveball? We'll see. And Moreland asked and is granted timeout. High stress pitch here for Knebel. Got a power hitter at the plate. Brewers lead by a run. And the payoff pitch, a fastball, misses. First and second with 1 out. It does put the go-ahead run on, but it also sets up a double play opportunity. And Counsell begins to pace in that Brewers dugout.
Corey's not one of those ground ball pitchers, really. More of a fly ball strikeout guy. That fastball didn't miss by much on that outside corner.
Rangers bring on Hoying to pinch run. So you got the Shields at second. He ran for Lucroy. Hoying running for Moreland at first base. And here is Nomar Mazara. 0 for 3 tonight. Another Ranger hitter with big power, hitting 8th in their lineup. Inside move, and the Shields looked like he might have been running there. Stopped quickly and hustled back to the bag.
I think Corey, in the corner of his eye, saw him take those shuffle steps and decided on the inside move.
There's a strike to Mazara. That's the get-over version of that breaking ball for Knebel.
And that's really all you need to do. You don't need the really good one, the one down. You want to throw it for a strike. Anything other than a fastball.
No balls, a strike. And a swing and a miss, throw to second base. The tag, safe, just safe. What gutsy move by Maldonado.
I was just getting ready to say, I mean, up by a run. Maldonado not afraid to throw that baseball right on the bag.
Perfect throw, but there's a lot that could go wrong there. And the Shields could have ended up at third base with 1 out. No harm. 0-2 count. Here it comes, and a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Another high fastball and a big strikeout for Knebel, the second out of the inning.
I know the curveball, the first pitch curveball really got into Mazzaro's head, and that's why he's able to get those fastballs by him. That one, another one out of the zone. Second strike on the pitch up out of the strike zone. And Craig Counsell wants his closer.
Well, he'll take the ball from Knebel. Should be out of the inning. But a big strikeout to get to 2 outs. And with Elvis Andrus coming up, a contact hitter, he's going to go with his closer. Tyler Thornburg coming in. We'll set him up after this. and he is going to try it again. Tyler Thornburg out there to try to get the final 4 outs and a save. A 1-run lead. The Rangers have 2 on at first and second. And Thornburg with 13 saves as he took over for Jeremy Jeffress. Will face Elvis Andrus with 2 away in the 8th.
Yeah, why not bring the closer on? He's used to doing it. He picked up save number 13 on Friday against the Reds. Pitched an inning, gave up a run in that appearance. Guy's only given up 2 earned runs in his last 33 appearances.
Dangerous hitter at the plate. One of the best in the American League with runners in scoring position. Elvis Andrus. Great wheels on the bases for Texas. Thornburg with an opening curveball. Drops a lollipop in there for a strike. The Rangers tonight are 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Brewers jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Texas scored 3 in the bottom of the first to regain the lead. Milwaukee then countered with 2 in the second, and they were up 4-3 after an inning and a half. Brewers added 1 in the third. Rangers scored 1 in the fourth. That's where we sit right now. 5-4 Milwaukee. Has not been a run since the 4th inning. Andrews up the middle, base hit. DeShields around third, on his way to the plate. Throw comes in, and we are tied. Elvis Andrus delivers, and the Rangers come back again.
Well, got a fastball right down the middle. It's not where Thornburg wanted it. Andrews, a good contact hitter, hitting almost 380 with runners in scoring position, and that pretty much center cut down the middle. And they tie it. 2 outs in the 8th.
And a pretty good play back there by Maldonado. Otherwise, both runners would have advanced. He was able to knock it down and keep it close enough.
Yeah, tricky hop.
Well, now Thornburg is tasked with keeping the game tied. Gomez. Yesterday, Gomez and Lucroy combining for 5 RBIs against their old club. 2 on, 2 out. Unearned run against Knebel. Game on the line here in the 8th. Rangers have tied it up. 2-out RBI single by Andrews. And there's ball 2 on Gomez.
Yeah, to a changeup. We haven't seen too many changeups from Thornburg lately. It's been fastball, curveball.
Gomez sends one deep to left. He's watching this one fly. It is gone. A 3-run home run.
Nice second tape measure shot for Carlos Gomez in his series, and well, they did it again. 4 runs here in the 8th. This is a blast. Gomez, good extension, and Rangers now with a 3-run lead.
Boy, did that fall apart in a hurry. 4 runs with 2 outs and a no-doubter for Carlos Gomez, who is now 7 for 12 in this series with 2 homers. He's hit 2 3-run home runs.
And Thornburg threw him a changeup. Second changeup he threw Gomez. That one ended up in the seats.
If the Rangers hang on to win this game, it will be their 49th come from behind win. That is an amazing statistic.
Yeah, one of the few times that Craig Counsell's gone to Thornburg early and it hasn't worked out.
And Desmond strikes out. The inning is over, but Texas strikes in a big way with 2 outs. Andrews ties it. Next batter, Gomez, sends the Rangers ahead. Well, Carlos Gomez, a 3-run home run for the Rangers, and they lead it now 8-5. All 4 of those runs coming with 2 outs. Our broadcast tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin, presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Last call for the Brewers now. Manny Pena will lead off. Jeremy Jeffress trying to finish this one off. He came on last inning, has a chance to win this game now. And a bouncer off of Jeffress right to Andrews, who bobbles.
Well, he didn't have to go barehanded. Had the catcher running. I think we had to do over again. He would have used the glove. That'll be a hit. That's a good start.
And so Pena is aboard. Brewers need another base runner. New catcher is Robinson Chirinos. Lucroy was pinch run for. Ryan Rua will take over at first base for Moreland, who was pinch run for by that guy. And Jared Hoying will play right as the Rangers tighten up defensively. Orlando Arcia now with the man on. Brewers find themselves down 3. Carlos Gomez in this series against his old team, 7 hits, 8 runs batted in, 2 homers, 2 doubles.
And those 2 home runs he hit blasts. I mean, those balls were hit. Man. Jeffers tried to throw the changeup. He threw 2 of them in that at bat to Gomez and hit the second one way out of here. couple of 3-run homers for Gomez.
Can't help but think about what the Astros are thinking watching all of this here in Arlington with Carlos Gomez. He is a different player. He's the player right now that he was with Milwaukee. And for whatever reason, Houston is an analytics heavy ball club, which is fine. That's a lot of teams are, but something didn't fit in Houston with Gomez and the Astros. But he's been freed up since arriving here in Texas, and imagine he's essentially being paid the minimum salary to play for Texas right now, and he is responsible. If the Rangers win this game, it will be 5 victories that are directly influenced by Gomez, meaning he had the big hit to put him ahead late or the walk-off.
Nice and relaxed. He is the starting left fielder. He's going to be the left fielder in the postseason. So amazing turnaround in the same season. Meantime, the Brewers are 1 pitch away from bringing the tying run to the plate.
There you got Maldonado on deck. Garcia trying to reach. And a ground ball to third. Beltre to Odor. Jump throw. My goodness, what a double play that was. I didn't think he had a chance. And Odor gets him by a half a step.
Yeah, that's crazy. He's made a couple of really interesting turns in this series. And this might be the most unusual right here. Check out, he jumps up. A lot of times you're not able to get much on the throw when you do that. Wow. And they call him out at first base. Throw a little bit off the mark, but look at the throw, look at the turn. I think he's out.
That's bang bang.
Craig Counsell says, why not?
Yeah, it's
what do you got to lose?
It's a huge play, obviously. The Brewers are down 3, so he has a challenge to use it. I'm amazed that Odor could put that kind of throw together with that kind of stance. This will be a good look. It's got to hit the back of the glove. It has to hit leather, and
I think he's out. But you know, if you're Craig Counsell, why not? You might get lucky.
It'd be hard to overturn this one. Yeah. I don't think there's enough evidence there to overturn it, but we've seen calls like that overturned before.
But nothing to lose for Craig Counsell to go with that challenge. Yet another double play if it stands. That would be the 3rd one tonight.
So Joyce, the umpire, gets the call. Out is a call. It's a double play, and it wipes out the lead single. And that's going to go on the highlight reel for Rougned Odor. He's had a good game tonight, by the way. Odor with 2 hits, including a 2-run homer in the first. So Maldonado is the Brewers' last hope. Texas trying to maintain their lead for the best record. Came into play tonight with a half-a-game lead in that category. And Jeffers trying to go the final 2 innings. I think they're asking a lot out of Jeremy Jeffers here. Hasn't been pitching. This is only his 2nd outing in over a month.
They're trying to extend him a little bit. Maybe he can get that fastball back. 92 miles an hour. I mean, when he was with Milwaukee, he was throwing 97.
(2-0). Maldonado at the plate. Jeffers' former battery mate. And there's a strike. 2-1. Rangers had 2 comebacks yesterday to win it. Trying to cap off another comeback tonight. Strike 2. And it's 2-2 now. And the Brewers are down to their last strike. 36,000 in Arlington to watch this one. Well, they are on their feet. That is a foul ball. The Brewers will take tomorrow off, traveling to Denver tonight. 3-game series to finish the season in Colorado. Rangers have tomorrow off as well. They've got the Rays coming in for the weekend. On the ground, Beltre, long throw in time, and the Rangers come back again, and a win for Jeffress. And the former Brewers do big damage against the Brew Crew in this series. Carlos Gomez with 8 RBIs in the 3-game series, and his 3-run home run is a game winner. So Miller Lite, what's on tap? Brent Suter and Chad Bettis, 6:30 p.m. Friday on Fox Sports Wisconsin, starting the final series of the season at Coors Field. That's our story from Arlington. The Rangers are shaking hands. They win 2 out of 3, maintain the top record in the American League. Time for Brewers Live. We check in with Jeff Grayson. He's standing by in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studio. Jeff?